On your left.
Thanks for the ride, Uncle
Now,
Ben.
wait a minute, Peter. We need to talk. Anymore. You shirk your chores. You have all those weird experiments in your room. You start fights at school.
I didn't start that fight. I told you that.
Well, you sure as hell finished.
What was I supposed to do? Run away?
No, you're not supposed to run away. But Pete, look, you're changing. I know. I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Peter, these are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into. This guy Flash Thompson, he probably deserved that. But just because you can be doesn't give you the right to. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Peter! Peter!
Peter!
Peter!
Assemble. I am inevitable. And I am Iron Man.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Marvelous Discussions. It's been a very long 3 months since we've done a show like this, and a Marvel show. And I thought this is the week of Thanksgiving, so let's do my channel's Thanksgiving special this week. So we are going to be reviewing Spider-Man 2002. Yes, the one directed by Sam Raimi and starring Tobey Maguire. And yes, it is a Thanksgiving movie because if you remember the third act, that takes place during Thanksgiving time, so it counts. So I'm really excited to be doing another show with this person again. You know, you remember this guy, he hates short people. He just, remember on our Deadpool and Wolverine review, he did not like comic accurate Hugh Jackman as Wolverine because he was short, and this guy just does not like short people, does not like the vertically challenged. So please welcome as I bring on Socks Bulletins. How are you, man?
I'm back.
You excited today?
Yes, and I love having a Christmas tree in my house all year long, which you should have in your house all year long.
Oh, it's funny because I actually do have a Christmas tree in my house, in my setup right now, actually.
It should stay there to July.
Anyway, who do we have in the chat right now? We got the Curly Ray, who I trolled a little bit for the wrong movie in the trilogy, but we'll get to that movie eventually. This is more like it. We got your friend Linda, who, Socks, I heard she's a short person, and we all know that you don't like short people.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that subject. I'm not doing it. Nope.
Oh, good one, a Curly Ray. Said by in 2 Spider-Man movies, actually. Which actually, yep, in our intro and the movie. And what up? We got Eli. Oh, sorry, Sin Havoc. We got Sin Havoc in the chat right now.
Nope. Not doing it. Nope.
Yeah, we are both insane. Hey, I didn't say it. Socks did. I would never insult short people. So anyway, shall we get started?
Yes, please.
Okay, so now, basically, I wanted to kind of address this because I think I may have even advertised it, but either way, these projects went on. Well, Venom Last Stand specifically, and Agatha all along, and this channel did not cover it. And I wanted to kind of just address this because my co-host Socks was on a well-needed vacation, and I have my one rule with anyone who comes on my channel: real life before this. These people who come on my channel, they're my friends first and my streaming partner second. So we will review these eventually, but at this point, we're going to wait till the time is right. Wait till a related project is coming out soon. Maybe if they confirm more details about Tom Holland's 4th Spider-Man movie and they confirm Venom's going to be in it, something like that, then we can review the Venom trilogy to get ready for that. So, and then Agatha All Along could be our next Halloween special. These are just ideas right now. These are not confirmed, by the way. So be on the lookout for that. So I just wanted to kind of just address this in case people were wondering. Wait.
Okay.
Interesting. Are they going to actually treat her like a villain this time and not try to make excuses for her like they did in WandaVision? Are you going to get Monica being like, well, I mean, she only destroyed one universe, but she put a shield so that, like, not all the universes would be destroyed. Are we going to get something like that from Monica? So, yeah, but basically that's just what happened. So we'll get on that when we get on that. And that is a bomb. That is a great bomb, yeah. Sin Havoc.
Sure.
And you may have some bombs coming up about what's happening about this next topic too. So I don't really want to spend too much time on this topic today because this is this is Spider-Man 2002. I want this to be a happy stream, but the reason why we are talking about this is because, as a lot of you know, I've been a big supporter of Ezra Miller, and I'm going to be repeating what I kind of said when I covered Ezra Miller extensively last time, and I say extensively, like when he was a main top. But basically, as you may remember, I was very irritated that all these people who were covering Ezra Miller through all the controversy, all the allegations, all of a sudden stopped when one of the key retractors, or the key people who accused Ezra Miller, went back on their allegation. And to me, I just don't feel that's right. If you're going to say all the stuff that makes someone look guilty, you got to cover the stuff that makes them look innocent too, or that leads towards the idea of them being innocent. You got to cover it all, not just some of it. Because omitting certain facts to make someone look more guilty, that's just wrong, and that's just evil. And I will not do that on this channel. Socks and I, we already covered Jonathan Majors. This already happened. So now that something else came out, we are going to cover it. Because if we're going to cover stuff like this, we're going to cover it all, not some of it. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way, that we will be covering it.
You see, ooh.
I did suspect when Disney gave him an interview. That was always suspicious to me that the company that fired him would give him an interview. That was always suspicious to me, but Oh, actually, I do too. I do too, the Curly Ray. So basically,
Me
what
too.
happened for those of you who don't know is that there were charges against Jonathan Majors dropped. The defamation charge and one of the assault. It was one of the assault charges. I don't think it was everything, but it was because I know it was like I was reading the article and even like the person who accused Jonathan Majors. Oh my god, I should get her name. I shouldn't be calling her. What's her name again? I have the article up here. Okay, I am really sorry. One of Jarbari Grace. I'm just gonna say Grace. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna try to pronounce your last name if you're watching this because I'm not gonna butcher it. But there's a link to the article in the description. But basically, even the lawyers were saying it was a favorable outcome. But just Socks, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm gonna get to the point of this whole horrible thing altogether when I read this article, because I reread it again earlier today before I came on the stream. It's amazing how all of a sudden this all goes away after a settlement. This is all about money. That's all it was. She got her settlement, whatever it was, and she goes away. And now all the charges are dropped. We don't know how much the settlement was. We're never going to find out, nor do I care. But that's what I knew was going to go in that direction, because he was accused of, what was that bullshit charge in New York City again?
Accidental assault because he jabbed her finger and pushed her in the car trying to get away from her and get his stuff back.
Really? I mean, how weak? It's a weak charge, right?
Yeah, exactly. I always go on.
But what got me was, as soon as I read the article again today, and she got her settlement, and she split, and I was like, we could have did this shit months and months and months ago. Why did it have to happen now? She wanted to hurt this guy over a weak ass charge, and now he's got a new movie coming out. Because I just read in the same article, he did a movie not too long ago where that's going to be coming out soon. He's going to have his career back. So it's pointless.
Yeah. And, look at what Sin Havoc is saying. He's saying that the overseas charges might be dropped as well. And, he says Major is still in contract. And see, here's the key thing for me. The fact is they never recasted Jonathan Majors. They put a new villain. Why would you do that? Well, I'll tell you why you do that, because then you put yourself in a favorable outcome no matter what happens. If the public goes against Jonathan Majors, you can just kind of quietly get rid of him. No huss or fuss about it. If Jonathan Majors is found innocent in the court of public opinion, then you can bring Jonathan Majors back. And then you can just add him as an additional villain to the saga. That way, Disney doesn't look bad either way, because it's always a conundrum, right? Because whatever you do is going to be the wrong thing unless you prepare for both eventualities. And I'm going to say what I've always said on this channel. I'm always going to go with the information that is out there of this time. If something comes out that makes me change my stance, I will do a retraction on this. Because, and again, I don't want to get too far into this stuff. But unfortunately, when the actors get accused, you have to kind of dabble in it a little bit. And I will say, if anyone gets abused by someone, I will always take that seriously. If there's a claim that's out, I will take that seriously on the channel. I'm not going to necessarily, I'll put it like this. I'm not going to say the person's lying, and I'm not going to say they're telling the truth. I'm going to just follow everything, see where it's leading me. And I'm going to be honest. Where was leading me was more in Jonathan Major's favor. I'm going to be honest about that. If something comes out later on that makes me follow Grace's favor, I will change. I will retract. But I'm sorry, I saw a video of her chasing him down New York. She was chasing him. I think to me, that is the key thing that made me kind of angry that he was charged. And again, like I said before, I'm always going to emphasize, if something comes out afterwards, I will retract. And so yeah, I'm thankful that charges were dropped. And, because again, I don't think this is everything. But Sin Havoc is saying the rest might be dropped too. Because, that's how it starts, right? Some charges get dropped and more get dropped later on. And I've always said, I want the best outcome for everyone in the situation. And I want whoever deserves to be punished to get punished. That is always how I'm going to say. And yeah,
I have
that's
a
actually a
side
good point,
note.
Havoc.
I have a side note to add to this. I was just thinking about this just now as we were talking about this. A couple of days ago, the MCU either announced it or it's a rumor, whether you want to take it, whatever, that the Champions, which was supposed to be the Young Avengers, was supposed to be a movie, which is now going to be a streaming show for Disney Plus. In the Young Avengers, one of the characters is called Iron Lad. That's actually a younger version of Kang. Now, let's just say, for hypothetically speaking, okay? Hypothetically speaking, that say when they do the Champions streaming show for Disney Plus, they bring back Majors as Kang for the show.
That would actually be very interesting. That would be really cool. When is the show supposed to come out again?
That they said a couple years from now. So by that time, all this will die down. This will all be gone, and there you go.
And yeah, and thank you for your perspective on this, Linda, too. And Nathan Richards.
Yes,
that's some other actor?
that Nathan Richards is the son of Reed Richards.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Nathaniel. Yeah. He's a godlike mutant. Basically, he can make Galactus do what he wants him to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is why I have the Marvel expert doing the show with me.
Oh, and another side note, Batman, good luck beating Nathaniel Richards. Yeah, good luck with that.
Batman could beat him. Batman would find a way.
Okay.
Batman always finds a way. But, and, again, because again, here's I lost my train of thought with this. And, again, Linda, thank you for your perspective on this. Because again, when someone ever makes an accusation, and this is what I tell everyone to do, whenever someone is accused, do not call the person who's accusing the actor a liar, nor do not call the actor being accused an abuser. Not right away for either thing. Just wait till stuff comes out. And if, let's say, you just don't know, shut up. Seriously, I'm not, one way or the other, because it's important for people who make accusations to be taken seriously. Because, like it or not, there are people in this world who suffer abuse, and they should never, ever be silenced. But at the same time, people who do get accused should never have their life ruined over an accusation, because not every situation can be judged the same. So I'm glad that, based on the evidence I've seen, I'm glad that things are going to be in Major's favor. I am glad for that, based on what I have seen. And I think he will be back. Some articles are like, oh, Major's reputation is ruined. I'm like, Majors has actually received a lot of support from the accusations. As I make the point, Jonathan Majors received way more support than Ezra Miller did. And I'm a big fan of Ezra Miller. And I think Ezra Miller was done dirty by the mainstream media. But I think, Majors had a lot more fans, therefore a lot more people looked into the situation more. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I believe I don't really know too much about Fantastic Four stuff. I got a buddy of mine that really doesn't know more about FF than even I do. I think he was a variant of his grandfather, I want to say. I remember that correctly, but I had to double check my source on that one.
It would have, I'm trying to would this one be played by Jonathan Majors, though? This Kang variant? I'm just saying, genetics-wise, would
In the comments.
Okay. So, in the comments. Okay, yeah, so. But, again, I'm glad that more information came out. I'm glad that we received more clarity, and I'm glad that an agreement was made. Because, again, I always just want the best outcome for everyone. That's always what I want. And so, yeah. Basically, I think Jonathan Majors will be back, in my opinion. I just think they're not going to do it right away. They'll They'll wait to see how things play out. They'll wait to see how the public reacts. Then they'll make a statement. Then they'll do whatever they decide to do. So, yeah. And again, I'm going to say this. No, I already kind of said this already. So again, just whenever someone gets accused, just do your research and then make a judgment. And if you don't know, it's okay to not have an opinion on it. That is absolutely okay to just say, hey, I don't really know about the situation, so I don't really want to comment on it. It's absolutely okay. So, I mean, will they though now? I mean, well, I guess they could change a certain variants look, but if they do bring Majors back, they may not. So, we'll see. I guess, Sox, anything you want to say before we move on? Wait, hold on. Sorry. When did this happen? Did you notice this?
I'm trying to think, man. I can't. I'm trying to give me a minute.
And for those of you who know, Sox is not frozen. He's literally just thinking about what's happening right now.
Okay, it had to be when he was first introduced in the Time Variant Authority. When Deadpool went in there. Pyramids around with that. Is that when he was in the Void?
I have to watch this movie again.
Okay. Now I got it. Now I got it. The pyramids in the background in the Void. That's it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. I see now. I see. So I'm sorry I kind of cut you off there, but Sin Havoc's dropping bombs in the middle of this. So anything you want to say before we move on to the fun stuff?
It's fine. No, we're good.
Okay.
Oh, Apocalypse in Sabanur? Oh, I like that.
Damn. Okay. Thank you, Sin Havoc. Anyways, and again, I want to make sure anyone who's watching this understands. Like, I want to say one more thing. If there's anything Sox and I miss or get wrong, please message me, please comment. And if you have an article for your claim, not just I say so, also send that please too. Please send it to me because we will always make a correction if we get anything wrong, especially when it comes to information like this here. This channel, I always mean to get things right, especially stuff like this. So that's how I'm going to end this. And now let's move on to the fun stuff. So now we are on to Spider-Man 2002. And I didn't put a spoiler warning because the movie is 22 years old. Okay? It's 22 years old. It should be obvious that we're going to spoil it for you. So yeah, Uncle Ben dies in this movie, which if you're a Spider-Man fan, you know that too. Anyways, let's move on to the story. And Sox, I'll start with you because you're a big fan of this. Oh, what up, Costello? Yeah, I know, Costello. I know. I'm depressed about that too. The fact that this is now a classic movie. Anyways, the story, Sox. What's your thoughts on the overall story?
The heart of the story, because Sam Raimi knows how to tell a story. He had the great writers on this story. He knew a beginning, a middle, and an end. The man grew up reading Spider-Man comics. The man loved Stan Lee. The man loved Spider-Man. They loved Marvel Comics. He was a diehard Spider-Man fan. He loved Marvel Comics. He loved Stan Lee for what he created. He followed those characters. He grew up with those characters, and he was able to capture the heart and put it into in those great films, especially in those first two movies, which I love him for doing it. Sam Raimi, to me, is my Zack Snyder. And
I'm glad that you have such a great time with these stories, and because he's he's a phenomenal director. I was rewatching this again, and I just forgot how good this movie was. And I think it just shows that, kind of like Zack Snyder, what they both have in common is that they both do movies that are not necessarily tied to a cinematic universe. Because remember, the Snyderverse and the DCU are separate now with the decanonization of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like Sam Raimi, it's basically just a condensed arc. So, which adds a lot of storytelling advantage, in my opinion. And it's a great story overall. It's a great story, a great superhero origin story of a man learning about his powers, learning about responsibility, and learning about the sacrifices that get made with being a superhero. And what I like about it, it's a great tone. It has funny moments, but it has serious moments as well. So it's an overall great scene. It's an overall great movie, and I love it. I love this story. It's phenomenal, and I think we can get a lot more to. Whoa!
Hey,
Absolutely, absolutely, Sky. Yeah. So if you're not a member of Skywalker's channel, be a member because I cannot wait to see more content. And this channel is only 15 away before I have enough to do memberships, but we'll see about that. So, but yeah, it's a fantastic story that I really love. And, actually, sorry, go on talking, Socks. I just got to show something real quick, but just keep talking for a minute.
Let's see. Okay. Watching William Dafoe play as the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, to me is right up there with the greats like, say, Jack Nicholson playing Joker or Heath Ledger playing Joker, because William Dafoe's version of Goblin and how he gets separated, how Norman is and how Green Goblin is exactly how that is in the comics. Norman is one way, while the Green Goblin is another way. Okay, Norman don't think like the Green Goblin, nor does the Green Goblin think like Norman. They're a split personality in the same body. But here's the difference: William Dafoe can capture that to a level. He can take that to a level that most actors probably can never do. Nick Cage could do it. Obviously, Nicholson can do it. Certain other actors can do it. But if you look at how Dafoe does that as Green Goblin, it's scary. It is literally freaking scary.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Zox, we'll definitely get more into William Dafoe, but I want to share this right now real quick. So, as some of you may know, I went to the Warner Brothers studio tour when I was in LA visiting Skywalker the Jedi. I did this tour on my own time, but I visited the studio. And what a lot of people don't know with Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers actually will rent out their studio to other film studios. And one of the film studios that they rented out to was Columbia Pictures. And there are certain Spider-Man scenes that are filmed on the Warner Brothers studio lot. And one of them was I'm going to just show this right now. So we'll see if you recognize this, Socks. And just so people know, I am going to show my Facebook profile. This is not permission to request me on Facebook, because I don't just accept everyone's Facebook. I mean, if you know we're friends, you can do it. But if we're not friends, I'm not accepting everyone's Facebook request. So do you recognize this? Do you recognize this place, Socks, this set?
That is the wall that Peter Parker crawled up the first time he found out he had the powers of a spider.
Well, maybe it was that too, but what they told us on the tour is that this is the kiss scene. I mean, it might have been that too, because I know a lot of people.
Oh, the upside down kiss scene. Okay.
Yeah, so let me just, now that I've said that, let me just show it again. So, which again is me right there. Or MJ herself kiss.
I got a bit of information.
Go on.
I got a bit of information about that. The scene where when they were shooting that scene, and Tobey Maguire is hanging upside down, so MJ can kiss him, and they had that rain coming. So much rain was getting inside Tobey Maguire's nose that they had to stop every few seconds to get the water out of him because it was going into his nose and he was going into his mouth. So, and that was a long, hard shoot for him to do that because he was upside down for quite some time to do that kissing scene, which became one of the most iconic kissing scenes in all history.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. They're just, I mean, being upside down with water, yeah, damn, that would. A Chitauri that destroyed.
I saw, yeah,
in the con-
yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, also, and I'm sorry, Brad, I didn't mean to cut you off. Also in the void, did you see the helicarrier in the background?
No, I did not. Oh, so my God, I gotta watch Deadpool and Wolverine again now that's on Disney Plus. But yeah, overall though, just great story, and I just wanted to show that off that I actually saw a scene from the actual scene of Spider-Man, one of the most iconic scenes. Oh, Sin Havoc sent me a picture. Okay, Sin Havoc. Okay, Sin Havoc, let me just show that real quick. Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Sure.
Sin Havoc.
Yes, Sin Havoc, definitely. Yeah.
That's why I love having Sin Havoc, dropping all these bombs. But anyways, I just wanted to show that's one of the most iconic movie scenes that I was actually there. And it was funny. I couldn't remember if I actually got a selfie there or not, which I'm glad I got that selfie too, to prove that, yes, I was there. So anything else you want to say about the story itself before we move on?
No, we can move on, but I do love that story. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go on to the score. Sucks, we are talking about the score. What's your overall thoughts on the score of this movie?
Danny Elfman, brilliant. Danny Elfman, one of the greatest music composers in the history of music composers, second only to John Williams from Star Wars. I mean, the guy Danny Elfman did Spider-Man. He did The Simpsons. He did Batman. He has done so many different music scores, and the guy is always on point with his music scores. I mean, dude, love it.
It is a great score. I love it. Like the Spider-Man's main theme, it's just such a phenomenal theme. It's so funny. It's a hard theme to like sing, but it's a really great theme that is just awesome and just adds to the story really well. And I think that's one thing that is really done with this movie is that the score really adds to the tension of the movie. It just adds to the scene, adds to the dynamic of the movie. And it's funny because like I don't normally put scores as a topic because I don't normally think, because a lot of them are just kind of like, whatever. But this one is just so amazing to me, and I really love it.
Hey, Josh.
What up, Josh? Huh. I have not seen that YouTube clip. Okay. We'll definitely have to check that out. And
I know I see these fan pictures pop up on Twitter every once in a while. And people want to cast Defoe as the Joker. He would have made a great Joker, but there's a problem though. He was already the Green Goblin. You can't Joker now because he would just be the Green Goblin as the Joker. So it just would not work.
We can talk about that when we get to the Norman Osborn topic, but let's hold on to that. But now let's move on to the scene that's in the Marvel intro, the big scene that, and then I'm telling you, I was telling Sox this backstage. When I was watching this movie again yesterday, I was so confused not confused, I was so thrown off when I was watching the great power, great responsibility scene and not having it transition to No Way Home and Endgame. I'm so used to seeing that scene leading into Endgame and No Way Home that I'm like, oh wait, this is actually the movie how it's supposed to play out. So I really love this scene. I think, and for those of you who don't know, when I was sending Austin the idea for this intro, we had to pick favorite scenes. This one was actually on Sox. Like Sox picked this scene for all like favorite Marvel scenes in general. So, and it was a really good choice, honestly, because I really love that scene. So I'll let you start with this one, Sox. What's your thoughts on this scene?
Well, besides it being, to me, the greatest quote in comic book history, with great power comes great responsibility. To me, and personally, just my opinion, I think it's the greatest quote ever in comic book history. Thank you, Stan Lee, for giving us the greatest quote ever. It's a powerful scene, man, especially in that movie, man, because Peter's going through a lot. He got bit by the spider. He doesn't understand his abilities fully yet. He's going through the struggle because he wants to do something good, and show off and, get some money and get a car to impress Mary Jane. He's having his uncle. He's having these problems at school with Flash Thompson and so on. And he's going through all these crises in his head, man. And when Ben is trying to explain to him, you're going through these changes, and Peter's just kind of like half listening to it, and then when he tells him about the greatest quote, in my opinion, of all time, it doesn't hit him right away until after what happened to later on after Ben is killed. Then it hits him. That's some powerful writing, dude. That is some powerful storytelling right there.
It is. And what I love about this scene is that you see the struggle with Uncle Ben, is that Uncle Ben is not Peter's father. We don't know the story of Peter's parents as presented in this movie series. I'm not talking about in the comics. I'm talking about just this movie series right here. We don't know about Peter's parents. We just know it's Uncle Ben and Aunt May raising Peter. So there's a struggle there. It's like, even though they're his legal guardians, they're not his parents. So there's always going to be that little tension where it's like hard to think of them as a parent. Because I know when I was a kid, if all of a sudden my aunt and uncle became my guardians, I may not, because like there's a different dynamic you have with your uncle than with your dad. So there's a different dynamic you have with your mom than with your aunt. It's kind of a combination of parental and friendly relationship. Like, yes, they're older than you, but they don't have to be as strict with you. Oh, God. Really, Josh? Really, Josh? But the whole point of why I'm bringing this up, though, is the reason why I love that dynamic is Uncle Ben says to Peter, I'm not your father. And Peter's like, then stop pretending to be. But people need to remember, Peter is a teenager. Yes, it was an asshole thing for him to say, but that's what a normal teenager would say. And you could tell he felt bad when he said that, when he lost his temper at him, but it's that awkward silence. It's like, I don't know what to say, but you had... Josh, if you can answer no to this question, honestly, I'll admit defeat. Did or did not Madam Web steal a cab, drive it all over New York, and to the airport without running into any issue? If you can answer no to that question, I'll retract our comments on Madam Web being bad. Anyways, it's a normal regret, and that's what I like about this scene is Uncle Ben. It's a good quote for everyone to live by, because Uncle Ben doesn't know that Peter has powers. He doesn't know that he was bitten by a radioactive spider and is Spider-Man. And he doesn't know any of that stuff. Thank you, Sin Havoc. Thank you. But anyways, Uncle Ben doesn't know that. But he knows that Peter got into a fight, and he knows that he has an amazing nephew who's going to do amazing things. And that's the power that he's referring to. And he's trying to pass this wisdom on to his nephew, especially because his nephew did beat up a guy. And what I love about this scene, as you can hear in the intro, is that I like that, just a small little detail. I like that he admits that Flash Thompson probably deserved it. He didn't even try to deny, Ben, like, because I hate when people do this with bullies. They try to like find some way to say, oh, this person was just as bad as you were, or you were just as bad, or whatever. It's like, no, he deserved it. This isn't about that. It's just about being the bigger man. It's just a great lesson to teach. Nope. That she had no powers there yet, Josh. Nope. I don't care about it has to make sense within the context of the movie, not within the context of the comic books. If it doesn't make sense in the context of the movie, it's bad. Oh boy, Sin Havoc. Anyway. Okay. No more Madam Web, or else we're gonna lose track of this topic. But it's a great lesson that Uncle Ben teaches his nephew, is that, so, sometimes you can't always just use your strength to solve problems, because that's not how it works. And it's so poetic because Peter is about to do exactly that.
Josh, I love you, Josh, but you're starting to give me a migraine, Josh. I really love you, Josh, but you're starting to give me a migraine, Josh.
Anyway, Sox, anything else you want to say about this scene?
No, we can move on. I'm trying to focus, but every time I focus, Josh on Madam Web, and I'm like, oh God, he's gonna give me a headache again. Josh, please stop doing this to me.
But I'll just wrap this up by saying I'm really glad that, Sox, you chose this scene to be in the intro as one of the scenes for me to send to Austin and put in the intro, because it's a phenomenal scene, and I think it is one of the best, not just Marvel scenes, but I'm saying this as a DC guy, probably one of the best scenes in comic book history. I definitely put this in at least my top 10, even my top 5. Forget it, Sox. He's breaking my concentration. Anyways, one of the best. I'll probably put this either maybe even top 5, but definitely top 10 of comic book movie scenes, because it's phenomenal. It's a great scene. And Austin, if you're catching this on replay, you did a phenomenal job integrating this scene in the intro. So, and what I like about this, and this lesson kind of bites Peter in the ass with this. So, just to kind of clarify, we're going to talk about this whole series of events leading to Uncle Ben's death. We're just going to talk about how it's presented in this movie right here. Yes, I know that technically this is retconned in the third movie. I am well aware of that. But we're reviewing this movie, so we're just going to kind of review it as it's presented in this movie right here. So I just want to clarify that before I get a million comments saying, no, Sandman killed Uncle Ben. Flint Marco killed Uncle Ben. I know. But in this movie, as it's presented, the thief at the wrestling ring. What I love about this scene, too, is that it's Peter ignoring Uncle Ben's advice, which makes sense as a teenager. Because think about it. Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. Peter took down a wrestler, took down Bonesaw, a wrestler who was injuring all his opponents until Peter stepped in and won. And then the fight promoter cheated him out of a technicality. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, Sox. If I was in Peter Parker's situation, I cannot say that I would not have done something differently. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. If I saw that robber getting away, I might have done exactly what Peter did. And to be honest, like Flash Thompson, the fight promoter deserved it. I'm going to be honest with you. The fight promoter 100% deserved to get robbed, because the funny thing is, if the fight promoter had just not cheated Peter and given Peter the money that he deserved, Peter would have stopped that no problem, and he would have lost less money. But the thing is, again, it's not up to us as human beings to make those calls. Peter didn't do his good Samaritan duty. Peter could have easily ripped him apart. He could have just tripped him easily, but he didn't. And that's when it comes back to bite him, where if he had stopped the thief, Uncle Ben would be alive. And now he's like, I want the fight promoter to lose everything for cheating me. But then Peter himself lost everything. And that's when he learned his harsh lesson that he has to fight, he has to use his powers for the greater good. And I'm going to be honest with you, Sox. This is one thing I didn't like about the Spider-Man, the animated series, the way it's portrayed, is that Spider-Man just doesn't stop the criminal just because. He's like, oh, I'm not a cop. But what I like about this movie, I like that they gave Peter a reason to not stop the thief. I like that there was an actual lesson or an actual motivation, a reasonable motivation for Peter to not stop the thief. It just makes the message a lot stronger. Oh, I'm sorry, Sox. They're still going on about Madam Web.
I know, and I'm trying to focus on what you're saying, but I'm also being caught in this chat because I so badly want to get all these people on the show, and like look, enough.
Okay, anyway, Sox, just what's your thoughts on like the Uncle Ben death scenes? Like that whole segment of the movie.
It's a powerful scene, man. I mean, it breaks your heart when Ben is dying like that, and Peter sees his uncle's dying. And I gotta disagree with you on one thing, man. I would have stopped him. I would have stopped the robber because that's the moral. That is the moral. That's the reason why Ben died, because Peter didn't stop him. That's why in the comics, Peter's always feel like he's not good enough, because even though he saved the world thousands of times over, saved thousands of lives, in his mind, he let the one person pass away because he didn't stop it. Just like in the movie. He feels that every day of his life. If he would have stopped the robber, Uncle Ben would still be alive.
Absolutely. And actually, when we review Spider-Man 3, I would even make the same argument, even with that retcon. I actually agree with that same argument because, I mean, I know I said we weren't going to bring Spider-Man 3 into this, but I will just say, technically speaking, the reason Uncle Ben died, even with the retcon, is that robbers, spooked Flint Marker or surprised him, which is why he accidentally pulled the trigger. So even if you take that, even if you take that Spider-Man 3 into account, it still holds up that Peter stopped the robber, Uncle Ben would still be alive, because then Robert never would have jump-started Flint Marco into killing Uncle Ben, or wouldn't have spooked him, or whatever you want to say. So it still technically holds up. But I love when Peter goes after the robber, though, and you can just see the pure emotion on his face. He's like, when he says, "What about my uncle? Did you give him a chance? Did you?" It's just such great acting by Tobey Maguire. It's such a great that scene there, and then the robber trips, and then Peter has to get away because obviously it looks like he killed him. Even a fingerprint. No, I don't think the fingerprints. I don't know if fingerprints would have really shown that he tripped himself. They wouldn't have investigated that far, but it's such a great. The whole segment is really great. Just from when Peter's seeing Uncle Ben down on the ground crying, that emotion, and it's all just really powerful stuff. And then when he sees the robber's face and then he has that realization, he's like, "Oh shit! If I had stopped the robber, Uncle Ben would be alive." And he has to live with that. And that's a guilt he has to live with now every day of his life because he can't take that back.
Right.
And it's a real lesson. It's a real.
That is the moral. That is the moral of the story. That's what Stan Lee wrote. Stan Lee created this whole thing, or co-created this whole thing, and wrote this story, and he put so much on that character to make it more human. And I'm going to go off into a tangent. I apologize, but it's just how I am. When Stan Lee wrote all these characters in the 60s, he wanted them to be more flawed. That was the Marvel formula. Make the characters flawed. you can't relate to a character that's super strong and doesn't have any human aspects to them. You got to be able to relate to a character that has some sort of vulnerability to them. That's why Stanley did this in the 60s. DC realized that a little later on, like, whoa, wait a minute. We need to change up here so we can start doing our characters like this a little bit. So now you can see the characters are more flawed. Doesn't mean they're lesser characters or weaker characters. It just means you can relate to them.
Well said, Sal. Well said. And what I like about it too, when you like in this movie, when you do a character flaw, it's actually portrayed as a flaw. Sometimes the characters will have flaws and they won't write them as flaws, and then the character becomes irritating. That's the key difference. If the character is called out, it's a character flaw. If they're not called out, it's an irritating character. But it's realistic though. And because I mean, like you said, Sox, you wouldn't have stopped him. You would have stopped him. Again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have stopped him. I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying that I might have done exactly what Peter did. Because that's just a normal human thing. And he's a teenager. He is a teenager. And again, actions have consequences, and he learns that. But that's what I like about this writing, is that he is a flawed character. He's more relatable. I mean, the fact is, he was buying this money just to win Mary Jane's love, just to impress a girl. Let's be honest here. He wasn't even trying to win the money for selfless reasons. Unlike the movie game, where the game based on the movie actually was because of his trying to make good for his family. But in the movie, it's to get a car for Mary Jane. So overall, just great segment. And now we're going to talk about this scene. Now, just to clarify, I know this is not one of the most important scenes in the movie, but I'm advertising this as a Thanksgiving special, so we have to cover this scene. So I'll let you start with Sox. What do you like about the Thanksgiving scene?
The part where you see Norman Osborn carving up the knife looking at Aunt May, that scene is creepy. He just like
I like that scene too, because it really demonstrates just a small little detail about who Norman Osborn is, because he was also trying to take a bite at food before they all said grace. And even not only that, he licked his fingers, didn't wash his hands, and then proceeded to carve the turkey. Like, that's disgusting. But it's just like I know it's a small little detail, but it just shows how savage Norman has become due to the Green Goblin toxin in his system. And then when he's openly insulting Mary Jane in the hallway where they can all hear him, it's a great scene that really sets up Norman's character. And again, it's how Norman finds out that Peter's Spider-Man, because, he sees the cut on his arm, the exact same cut that he cut Peter with as the Green Goblin. It's just that whole segment is a really great scene. And again, this is why I say this movie is a Thanksgiving movie, because the whole third act takes place around this time. I don't think that it's weeks later. I think this is all within a week. So in fact, when I looked it up online, they say Norman Osborn died in November, so it's still Thanksgiving time. So yes, this is a Thanksgiving movie because of that. Because the whole third act, this isn't like Harry Potter where they try to pawn it off as a Christmas movie because of one scene in the middle. No, this is like the whole third act. So this is absolutely a Thanksgiving movie. So what about you, Sox? Any other thoughts on this Thanksgiving scene?
No, I just remember that scene with Norman getting ready to carve up the turkey and staring at Aunt May like that when she slapped his hand. That really got to me. Like, God, no, if looks could kill, buddy, woo boy. And we can move on.
It shows. Aunt May is a stickler for tradition, stickler for table manners. So now I want to get into the final fight between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. And I'm going to be honest, this is another one of my favorite scenes in comic book history. Because, like, remember what Green Goblin said to Peter earlier, is that they will turn on him. They will despise him. I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically around those lines. And then what I love about this, the Green Goblin is proven wrong. Yes, there's people who hate him like Jameson, but look at how the city of New York defended Spider-Man. They all threw stuff at Green Goblin, and I love this line. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And it shows what I've always said. People are inherently good. And this scene shows that, is that you have all these people standing up for Spider-Man, fighting the Green Goblin, fighting him, just throwing stuff at him, throwing stuff at this guy who throws bombs at people, and just showing that we're in this together. It's just a small little detail that I really love.
The scene on the bridge where Norman has got Mary Jane in one hand and that trolley car in the other hand, and he tells him, now you have to choose. You know, that's like nerve-wracking. You're on the edge of your seat. Which one is Peter going to go after? Because he wants to save the woman he loves, but he can't let the people in the trolley car die. He's got to go save them, but he can't let MJ die. So he's able to get both of them, which is luck on its own, you know, that he was able to pull that off. But so when I first saw that scene in the movie theater, and I saw what he was going to do to MJ, I instantly thought Gwen Stacy. Now, you probably don't know what that means.
Oh, I know what that means. I know
If you
Gwen Stacy died
you know about the death of Gwen Stacy, how she died.
Yeah, I didn't read the comic, but I know what happens. I know
That was an
Green
instant
Goblin
flash for me. And that's...
Go on.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was just going to say, I basically know what happens, is that Green Goblin throws Gwen Stacy off the New York Bridge, Spider-Man catches her, but because of science, blah, blah stuff, he accidentally kills her.
Right. And that scene, Sam Raimi got it right from that comic, Amazing Spider-Man 121. And yeah, I know the issue. So it hit me, of course, because I'm a diehard Spider-Man fan. I've been reading this for almost fucking 35, 37 years, maybe longer than that. And so I know these things. But that's a hell of a scene. And then the final fight where they're fighting in that warehouse, that abandoned warehouse. Goblin is winning that fight. Goblin is actually winning the fight. He's beating Spider-Man. He's got him until he makes the biggest mistake he could ever make. He said something about Mary Jane in the wrong way, and Spider-Man just goes full ballistic on him. And you have no idea how strong and powerful Spider-Man truly is. In the comics, he holds back a lot of his strength. Okay, you have no idea how messed up you crossed a line that you wish you did not cross.
Absolutely sucks. Unless you're a Batman, you do not cross that line with Spider-Man. Only Batman can do that and get away.
Here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. Okay, that is it. I've had enough of this Batman stuff.
I do love that scene though, and then when Goblin pleads for mercy and takes his mask off, and he's like, and what I love about this, it's again another full circle moment in this movie when he's like, I've been like a father to you, and Peter says, he says, I have a father. His name was Ben Parker. It's just full circle from earlier in the movie when he tells Uncle Ben, you're not my father, to accepting that no, Uncle Ben was his father in every way that counts. He raised Peter Parker. He was his father. And it's another great scene. And just this whole segment is so phenomenal from the fight, the actual fight. But actually what's funny is like, a lot of what I'm talking about is like the stuff around the fight, around that fight, that whole segment. Like another powerful scene is when Spider-Man tells Mary Jane to climb down. You have to. Another great line, another great acting moment from Spider-Man. And then don't forget the Green Goblin's line, the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout.
Man,
Down came the rain, took the goblin, took him out, or I forgot how that rest goes. So
Took the spider out.
took the spider. Along came the goblin and took the spider out.
Right.
It's just, I'm telling you, Sox, when I watched this, I forgot how good this movie was. It's
That's why
if
you look at No Way Home now, and I think No Way Home is a great movie on its own. William Dafoe recaptures the Green Goblin to a T again. Is terrifying all over again in that movie, fighting against Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I mean, my God, dude, the dude should got an Academy Award for playing that character, playing the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. William Dafoe is that good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Sox. I agree with you. He is such a phenomenal actor, and what I like about him is that I'm going to save this for when we get to William Dafoe, but there is something good I want to say about him. But I got to say about this scene though, when Goblin tries to kill Spider-Man with his glider, he didn't really think that one through, because even if Spider-Man hadn't gotten out of the way, the glider still would have impacted him. The glider still would have killed him. He just would have killed Spider-Man too, but you basically were going to kill yourself either way, dude. So this was entirely on you, man. Like,
yeah.
Just, but I got to say, though, Sox, it was really nice of Peter to take his costume off and dress him up so that Harry wouldn't know that he's Green Goblin. Because I'm just saying, he had to take that armor off and put on. And does he wear clothes under that armor? Did he, go in his closet real quick and put clothes on him? Or did he put him there naked? I'm really curious. I'm sure he wears clothes under there. Go on, Sox.
That's one of those things, those Hollywood secrets we'll probably never know. I mean, you bring up a good idea, a good thought there back then, because I mean, there's one thing in this 3 films that's going on with Spider-Man that I was not liking. Okay, it's a small little thing. I'll tell you what it is when you want to know it, but it's like, wow, something like that. But okay, but to answer your question, that's one of those little Hollywood things we're never gonna know.
Okay, and actually, I'll tell you this: for this little thing, you can tell me when it relates to the topic, or you can tell me at the very end. We'll say it like that. So, anything else you want to say about this fight?
Oh, we can move on.
The ending scene. Now, Sox, I have a little bit of a nitpick for this scene. New York is a big city, right? It's a huge city. What are the odds that Ben Parker and Norman Osborn are buried in the same cemetery?
A million to one, I guess. It's just outrageous, really. So.
And again, I know it's a kind of a nitpick, but I'm like, damn, that was very nice of Harry to schedule. Absolutely, Sin Havoc. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The one who scooped it wasn't. And for those of you who don't know, Mikey Sutton, waiting for it to happen, scooped that Sony and Disney will work it out. Which, of course, because money. But, Sox, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the ending scene in the movie?
That movie, the way that ending came about, and Mary Jane was ready to get with Peter. Peter knew that if he got with her, that would endanger her. That's why he did what he did and said he couldn't do it, just be her friend. Because he didn't want to put her in danger. Now, we all know later on that he would get with her, but at that moment, he was more concerned, protecting her. But she realized something when she kissed him. That was the same kiss that when she kissed Spider-Man, did the upside-down kiss. That's why she looked at him differently after the second kiss. Like, wait, is that what was that? That was you the whole time. Of course, she's not going to say nothing. That's saved for the sequel, right? But then when he walks off, he says the whole line: "Great power comes great responsibility." And then the swinging in the film where he's like goes out the city and onto the American flagpole and then off into the distance. I love that scene, dude. I absolutely adore that scene. I really did.
It's a great scene, and what I love about it, it shows, again, it's kind of another full circle moment. Peter realizing he has powers, he has a responsibility to use those powers to protect New York. Great power comes great responsibility, and it means protecting the ones that he loves. As hard as it is for him to tell MJ, no, I don't love you, you're just my friend, he has, in his mind, that's what he has to do to protect her and to use his responsibility. Now, this whole MJ should choose for herself debate, that's what they have in the next movie. That's what they talk about in the next movie. But as far as this movie, as far as it goes in Peter's mind, he's making a sacrifice. And it's showing the sacrifice of a hero. Because look at Harry. You have Harry who's close with Peter as his best friend, but hates Spider-Man. And for Peter, that's hard. I mean, his best friend hates half of him, basically. And he doesn't realize that. He knows that if his best friend were to find out the truth about him, his best friend would not be his best friend anymore. And we saw what happens when he does find out. But just that moment, and then having to lie to MJ, that's two moments, two major sacrifices. He makes us a hero right there. It's such a powerful moment. And it shows that, again, being a superhero is not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not just this fun adventure. Is that if people were superheroes and were protecting the city, sacrifices would be made. There would be sacrifices that you have to make in your life. And it shows that with Peter, that's what he has to do. He has to make the sacrifice to protect the woman he loves, to protect New York City, to protect his best friend, because he doesn't want to tell his best friend that his dad was the Green Goblin. Because if he does that, then he wants Harry to remember his dad fondly. Because Peter could be like, hey, your dad was a Green Goblin. And at that point, I feel like Harry might have been more receptive to what Peter tells him afterwards. You know, unlike that lazy butler who waited 3 years or however long to tell Harry that his dad was the Green Goblin. But, you know, that we'll get into that rant when we review Spider-Man 3. But my guess is based on Sin Havoc's comment, Hobgoblin, because I feel like if it were the Green Goblin, he would just hint Green Goblin. So,
if it's the Hobgoblin, is it Roderick Kingsley or is it? Because it better not be Tom Holland's best friend in that movie. Because I'm sorry, it better be Roderick Kingsley as Hobgoblin. It better be Roderick Kingsley.
That's right. Ned is his alter ego is the Hobgoblin, and they even hinted at that. They foreshadowed that in No Way Home. Remember, when Tobey Maguire told Ned about how his best friend tried to kill him, and he's like, "I'll never do that to you." Or Ned's uncle. Okay. So,
it'd be Roderick Kingsley. That's all I'm saying.
But overall, this is a great scene. It shows the sacrifice of being a hero. And, you know, I'm glad that Peter got some resolution in Spider-Man 2. Even if it did mean another man being left at the altar at his wedding, but we'll get into that rant later on. But and when we do review Spider-Man 2.
Also, I should point out when we did a review of Spider-Man 2, Thomas Jane's Punisher is in that movie.
You're definitely going to have to explain that one when we get there.
All right. The scene where you want me to explain it now or you want me to explain when we get to the sequel?
Explain it when we get to the sequel, just like we'll explain Josh's cameo in Spider-Man 3 when we get to Spider-Man 3. You heard that right here. You heard that right here, folks. Josh Herrera had a bit of a cameo in Spider-Man 3, which we will talk about in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do know about Deathstroke appearing in Spider-Man 2002. Flash Thompson, Joe Manganiello.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
all right, now let's get to some characters. Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I'll let you start with this one, Socks.
In my opinion, this is the perfect written way to do Peter Parker. Okay, now some people might say Spider-Man didn't make enough jokes like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man did. I can understand that. Or like the Tom Holland Spider-Man did. I can understand that. But the way Sam Raimi wrote Peter Parker in this trilogy, in my opinion, is the most perfect way how Peter Parker is. He is a nerd. He is an outcast. He's not going to show off his abilities in front of a bunch of people without his costume on. He is unsure of himself. He is the type of guy that is going to feel like he's nothing. But at the end of the day, he rises up every single time, no matter what.
Exactly. And you know what's funny though, Socks? I don't know if you noticed this, but have you played the Spider-Man games, like the ones based on the movies?
Yes.
You know, one thing I've noticed that the whole community about jokes. One thing I've kind of noticed is that Tobey Maguire, and again, for just to clarify, people, Tobey Maguire voices Spider-Man in the games too. Is that he's a lot more funny in the games than he is a movie, like the movies. Have you noticed that?
I've always been a fan of those movies. I love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. I love them more than the Amazing films. I do love the Tom Holland Spider-Man films for what they are. I have no problem. And there's certain things about those movies that I don't know about that, but I think Tom Holland is a perfect Peter Parker, perfect Spider-Man. But Tobey will always be number one to me.
I think put it like this. I think Tobey Maguire is probably one of the best written Spider-Mans ever. There's stuff I like about his Spider-Man better. There's stuff I like about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man better. I mean, one thing I found weird was that the web fluid just came from him. I wasn't the biggest fan of that because is he like part spider? Or I guess part spider, but I'm like, I would be kind of freaked out. I'm sorry if that was actually came from being bitten by a spider. I'm like, don't web me with that shit. I don't want to be sitting in spider webs. But I think Tobey Maguire does a great job as an actor though in this movie. He does a great job portraying the struggles of being a hero. He does a great job of portraying the nerdy Peter Parker. Because I'm going to be honest, one thing that does kind of annoy me in this movie a little bit is the same issue I have with Smallville in the early seasons. A 30-year-old looking high schooler. Like, that's always weird to me when they do that. It's like, stop casting old adults as high schoolers. That's weird. But despite that, Tobey Maguire himself does a great job acting like a teenager, even if he doesn't look like one. He does a good job acting like one. And I do give him credit for that one. That's why I will say, that's why the one thing I like about Tom Holland better than the other Spider-Man is that he's the first one to actually look his age. That's the one thing
I agree with that. Yeah.
He is the only Spider-Man to actually look. But I do think overall, though, Tobey Maguire he's a great Spider-Man. He's a great job portraying Spider-Man, portraying the nerdy side of him. Just, when he's telling MJ Harry Osborn, those facts about spiders, and then his personality of him wanting to earn stuff on his own and I'll tell you that in this way, this kind of dicks the movie, but when Norman Osborn offered him a job and Peter's like, no, I need to make this on my own, it shows great character. Now, nowadays, in the job market, you can't do something like that. If someone offers you a job, you got to take it because nowadays people get jobs with connections. That's networking and whatnot. That's how that works. But back in 2002, I could understand that kind of logic. But I'm just saying now that would not hold up. That would definitely not hold up nowadays, in my opinion. But just seeing how smart he is, seeing how diligent he is. I mean, again, I will admit I wish we got some of the quips that we've got in the games. And I'll be honest with you, Sox, I wouldn't have even complained about that if I didn't play the games. But like when he says stuff like, "Come on, Shocker, I can't let you run down there without a chaperone," or talking to Vulture, telling him how he needs to set a good example for the younglings. And again, this is the game extension, people. The game has extra villains in it. But, and you know, one thing I will say, Sox, though, talking about the games, it's one thing I like about Tobey Maguire is that even though he's a movie guy, I like that he didn't feel he was too good to do the games. I like that despite the fact that he's a bigger actor, he still humbled himself and did the video games. Because so many actors, big movie actors, would be like, "Hey, I ain't doing that." But he did the games, and it's just a little detail that makes me respect him a lot more. So,
well, think about it like this, Pat. Then, if you do a voice on a game, imagine the royalties you're gonna get for that game for the rest of your life.
yeah, that's actually a really good point, especially if they ever remaster those games. And really?
Yeah.
Did you know about this?
Yeah. Well, he made how do I put this? He made a very small cameo in the end of Spider-Man 2. Right when Mary Jane's running out of the church, you know, leaving what's it John Jameson at the church, you know, John Jameson at the church. You remember when she ran out of the church in her wedding dress, and then she once passes one guy right next to her turns around and looks at her as she runs past him? That's Thomas Jane's Punisher right there.
Oh, really?
That's him. He was on his way to go talk to somebody in the Punisher film. That was the scene right there. She runs past him. He turns around and looks at her. You see his face. You see his face perfectly. That's him. That's Thomas Jane's Punisher.
Oh, wow. Damn, the stuff you learn. But, damn, really cool. But anyway, Tobey Maguire just, again, I'm trying to not repeat a lot of what I said in a lot of his scenes, because I feel like I kind of gushed a lot about Tobey Maguire already in the previous scenes that we talked about. Some of his great acting that he, like the "you have to Mary Jane" and the emotion he gives with his uncle. But they just do a great job of him being that teenager, that seeing the struggle of him trying to be Spider-Man and not be able to get a job, getting fired from Doc Connors, and then using his abilities to make money at the Bugle. Yep, that you guys are.
Yes, we are, Stin. Yes, we are.
And I'm like the guy who's like, "Wait, what? What? I didn't know this."
Yeah, because me and Sin Havoc are sitting in the background. Ain't no Batman in this universe.
Sin Havoc and I are.
Anyway.
So anything else you want to say about Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker Spider-Man?
No, we can move on.
Let's move on to the other movie actor who did the games, who was, and again, that's the same thing about William Dafoe. Even though he's a movie actor, I like that he did the first game, because Green Goblin's not in the other two games, but he did the first game, and I love that. He, again, even though he's a big movie actor, he did the first movie game. And again, he humbled himself, and William Dafoe has done TV, like he's done Simpsons even. He's done smaller projects too, but William Dafoe was such a great actor. He's another phenomenal actor who doesn't get enough credit, honestly, as much as these other actors do. And he's in one of my favorite movies. Actually, he's in my favorite movie ever, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's not in it a lot, but he's in it.
All right, yeah. Yeah, he is. You're right. You're right. He's done a lot of movies, man. You know, from the '80s, man. Hell of an actor. Hell of an actor. And I swear, the guy deserves Academy Awards. Oh, plural, for a lot of the roles that he's done. My God.
Damn, are you saying, wait, Socks, are you talking about William Dafoe?
Yeah, he's a great actor, dude.
He is, and I mean, I don't want to get too far into No Way Home, but I will say, out of all the villains in No Way Home, he's the best actor in those movies. And one thing I like about William Dafoe, too, again, the way he humbles himself. Do you know that one of his conditions for No Way Home is that he wanted to do his own stunts? That was one of his
At
conditions.
60, what was he, 65 years old at the time? 64 years old at the time? He did all his own stunts, man. At 64, 65 years old. God damn.
Let's see.
Boy.
He was born in, he's 69 now. Yeah, so yeah, damn. I mean, he did his own stunts. I mean, that's impressive. And the fact that he wanted to do it too. Like, he wanted to do that, because so many actors would be like, yeah, get a stunt double. I'm too good for this. That's not only, like, that was one of his terms, was to do it himself, which just shows again what a great actor, what a dedicated actor he is. But I love Norman Osborn. His acting is also great. When the board fires him, you can hear the pain in his voice. The company that he built from the ground up, that became the success, the reason it's being sold. He's like, you know how much I sacrificed? The pain in his voice. The regret that he didn't spend as much time with his son as he should have. It's such a great scene.
It's chilling, is what it is. It's really chilling, man. Because again, this guy could turn it off and turn it on just like that. It proved it again in No Way Home. You see 1 minute Norman, you see the next minute Goblin, and it's just so goosebumps going up my arm now. Just thinking about that, man.
I mean, you think about how hard that is, because you had the whole mirror scene when you got Norman Osborn talking to the Green Goblin. It's like the Jekyll and Hyde personality. It's so, the way he like portrays the two characters so differently. That takes talent to do. That takes talent to play two completely different characters within the same movie. And he does such a great job of portraying that.
And that's how Stan Lee wrote him in the comments, just like that, man. People don't understand that. They say, well, he was like that later on. No, Stan Lee wrote it just like that. And that's why I keep telling people, go back to those Stan Lee issues, man. Back to the 60s and 70s when they established that character, especially in the 60s. Find those reprints. Read those issues, man. You see how Stan came up with this formula about making these characters totally different, flawed. How all these characters were flawed. They were done specifically a way to capture the reader's attention.
And what do you think about this, Socks? Bryan Cranston as Norman Osborn.
That would be brilliant. That would be he could pull it off. He could pull that off. That would be brilliant.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. But anyways, just the way that Norman Osborn is, the Green Goblin has so many great lines. No one says no to me, the itsy bitsy spider. Oh, am I? The way that William Dafoe delivers those lines, it's so hard. It's so like spine-chilling. This is a scary guy. He is a very scary guy. Even the way he says like the itsy bitsy spider, because that could be. I mean, think about how hard it is to portray a line like that as serious, as menacing, because that would be funny. That's a funny line, but he portrays it as such a serious scene. That takes talent. That takes talent to say certain lines in serious movies without taking the tone out of it. Or another one, finish it! When he makes Aunt May finish the Lord's
Really
Prayer.
sin.
Or at
Oh
least,
wow, okay.
oh yeah, that awful movie. Right. That horrible, awful Captain America movie that Sox and I will definitely disagree on later. But anyways, what are your thoughts just on how the Green Goblin Norman Osborn is in this movie?
Chilling, terrifying. What a split personality he really is, because that's basically what it is, a split personality. Absolutely terrifying, because again, Sam Raimi captured the character to a T, like he always does in his films, and he can do no wrong in my eyes. So perfect.
Except Spider-Man 3.
Again, that has to do with A.B. Adred. I don't put that blame on Sam Raimi. That's A.B. Adred. We'll get to that.
Okay. Civil War, you're saying? Socks? Or not Socks, Sin Havoc? Civil War or Spider-Man? Which one are you talking about here? But anyways, I'll be honest. In my opinion, I think Green Goblin's one of the best comic book villains ever. I'd say he probably, out of all the Marvel villains ever, and I'm not talking MCU, I'm just talking Marvel movie villains in general, I think this is probably my favorite. I think William Dafoe as Green Goblin is the best, in my opinion. Oh, Civil War. Okay. Would you agree with that, Sox? Out of all Marvel movie and TV series, that William Dafoe's Green Goblin is the best?
I'm sorry, say that
Okay.
again. You kind of broke up there.
Okay. That out of all the Marvel movies and TV series, William Dafoe is the best.
Yeah, I'm going to refresh. I'll be right back. Keep going back there.
Okay. I would say, yeah, but that's like my whole thing. And yeah, the Curly Ray, exactly. I would say that too. Well, I did just say that. So he's just such a menacing villain. And I like Marvel, not DC, not everything. Really? No, I like William Dafoe better than Josh Brolin's Thanos. But that's just my opinion. No, don't get me wrong, Josh Brolin did a good job, but for me, I like William Dafoe a little bit better than Josh Brolin's Thanos. But that's just how much I love William Dafoe as the Green Goblin. And I like his motivations too. I like that he gets to join him. I like that he tries to get Spider-Man to join him. I like that he doesn't have like the typical villain, I gotta kill him, I gotta destroy him, I gotta murder him. No, he actually wants to get Spider-Man to join him. It's just different than normal villains. And it's not until after Spider-Man says no that he kills him. But what I like too is just Norman Osborn what I like about him is that he's just a typical. He's just an honest. Just a man who worked hard to get to where he was. That's what I like about Norman Osborn in this movie. Is that he's not portrayed as some rich asshole. He's portrayed, in my opinion, at least in my opinion, as an honest man who worked his way to his company, worked his way to get to where he was. And that's why he's taking shortcuts. Like, yeah, he shouldn't have run that test on himself. But you can see why he did it. He was afraid of losing the contract. He wanted to win. He cares about the company that he built with his own hands. He cares about that. And and it's such a great motivation. And that's why I feel so bad for him when he's about to lose the company. Because he did that. with his own hands. And that's why people, there's a lesson to be learned from here. Never relinquish control of your company. Do not give more than 51% of your shares to a company. You make sure that you hold 51% of the shares of the company. Because as long as you do that, they cannot do anything without. The board would not have been able to sell Oscorp without his say-so. Never saw that movie. There's aspects of the third movie I like, though, but we'll get into that rant later on. But I honestly could gush about this movie forever. I really could. I said best Marvel villain. I didn't say best villain overall. Right now, just Batman. What up, DC Talk? Hopefully, Sox gets back. Internet issues, but hey, we went an hour and 30 minutes without Sox running into really bad internet issues. So I say that's actually pretty good. Okay, I think he's back. Looks like Sox is back and loading around. While we wait, we'll do a little singing. The itsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain. Along came the goblin and took the spider out. You back, Sox? Can you hear me? We were just talking about how Batman could easily kick Green Goblin's ass with his eyes closed. We were talking about how easily Batman could just destroy the Green Goblin with one hand.
And Spider-Man could take down Joker with just a fingertip. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so what I was saying before you got disconnected is that in out of all the Marvel villains, movie and TV shows, for anything, not MCU, anything, is that Norman Osborn or William Dafoe's Norman Osborn is the best. Do you agree with that statement?
That's hard. That's hard because in the movies, I would definitely say William Dafoe's Norman Osborn, Green Goblin. Yeah, I would say he's the best. I don't, there's nothing better than Spider-Man 2, in my opinion. I will always say Spider-Man 2 is the best comic book film I've ever seen, ever. I'll take Spider-Man 2 over every comic book film ever made. Again, just my opinion. I know I'm biased, but I stand by it. Yeah. William Dafoe's Norman Osborn? Yeah. Maybe.
Well, because I'll be honest, I put it like this: I think Spider-Man 2 is a better movie than Spider-Man, but I think William Dafoe is a better villain than. I think Green Goblin's a better villain than Doc Ock. I'm talking about in the Spider-Man movies in this trilogy. But that's what's great though, is that there's stuff about each movie that's better than the other, which I think is really good. But is there anything else you want to say about Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin?
No, we can move on.
Okay. Now, J. Jonah Jameson. And you know what's funny, Sox? Rewatching this movie, I just realized Jameson doesn't have a single scene after that one scene where Green Goblin attacks him. I don't think J.K. Simmons is in the movie again after that scene. Is that accurate?
What after what scene?
You know when Green Goblin attacks J. Jonah Jameson and Jameson defends Peter, and then Spider-Man, it's like chill out and let mom and dad talk. You don't see Jameson again after that in this movie.
Oh yeah, right.
I never
Yeah,
noticed that.
you're right because yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You know what I like about that scene, though? It's another important character scene for Jameson because despite the fact that he is this tough asshole, when his own life was on the line, he could have sold out Peter to save his own life, but he didn't. He chose to protect his sources, to protect Peter, and lie and be like, his work comes in the mail, knowing full well that Goblin might and likely will attack him. That takes courage. And that's what I love. I love layered characters like that because I like characters that appear to be assholes, but there's layers to them, that they're not just this evil asshole. And it's such a small little detail, but I love that about Jameson in this movie. What about you, Socks?
Jonah is a reporter at the end of the day. Jonah is going to protect his sources. He's going to, because that's just what a reporter does. He's going to protect his sources. He likes Peter. He doesn't necessarily like Spider-Man, but he likes Peter. He gives Peter a hard time, obviously, but he likes Peter. So he's going to protect him on that level as well. So even if it costs him his life, Jonah's going to do it. And if it means by getting punched in the face or knocked out, which that's going to, so there's a connection there.
Exactly. Yes, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen, people.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. You've never seen Heat?
No, I haven't.
You've never seen Heat?
No.
I had to switch browsers. I'll be right back. But I need you to think about that. You've never seen Heat. I'll be right back. You've never seen Heat. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yes, I know. I know, people. I know. I'm well aware. I'm well aware that I should have seen these movies that I have not seen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But that's what it is. That's what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, so what was I gonna say again? What was I? You guys are gonna give me a hard time for this forever, aren't you? Yeah, well, Curly Ray, you're a lot younger than I am, so I think you get more free passes than I do. So with that, I also haven't seen Back to the Future 2 and 3, if you want to really give me a hard time. But yeah, blame Sin. Sin Havoc, yeah, blame Sin for everything. You know what, Sin Havoc? I think it's your fault that Sox's internet went out. I'm blaming you. I'm just gonna blame Sin Havoc. Why? Because I can. But yeah, with Jameson in this movie, though, J.K. Simmons does a great job. He does a phenomenal job in this movie, portraying just the cold-hearted businessman and one who's big on selling papers, saying shit for good headlines, and the way he just manages business. When he's like, it's like, I can't worry about page 7 right now. I'm worried about page 1. J.K. Simmons does such a great job portraying that. And I love that of all the characters back for the MCU in their same roles. And when I say that, I mean like not multiverse crossover and it's like the same guy from that universe. I mean, no, like actually portraying the character of this universe in the MCU, J.K. Simmons. I like that they got him back for Jameson. It's so perfect. And wait, why are we blaming me now? Why and don't start with that again. Don't start with that again, Sin. Around, around, and round we go. Okay, Socks. So we were just talking about how basically that Batman would buy the Daily Bugle and put Green Goblin out of business.
You gotta say that again, Bat Dad. I'm sorry.
We were talking about how the Green Goblin would, or how Batman would buy the Daily Bugle to put the Green Goblin out of business, if that makes sense.
I think that would be beneath him if Norman Osborn would buy the Daily Bugle because it's not something that he would want unless he was trying to torment Peter Parker on a different level. Other than that, there's no real reason to do that.
I said Batman would do that. I was doing more Batman talk because you know how much I love talking about how great Batman is in these shows. So, anyway, Socks, do you have anything else you want to say about J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson?
No, we can move on. Batman voice. What the fuck?
Okay, so Ben Parker, Uncle Ben. What's your thoughts on Ben Parker in this movie?
I thought he did a good job of it, man. I actually enjoyed his version of. Like I said, I thought the casting in this film is done right. The acting is done right. The story is done right. So I had no problem with him playing Ben Parker.
I didn't either. I mean, and this is probably more of a criticism of the comics. I always found it weird how high schooler Peter's parents are like his grandparent or like grandparent age. I always found that a little weird, but I don't know. Maybe his uncle is just a lot older than his dad. I don't know. But another nitpick, I know, but the actor, I mean, again, I don't know how much to say about Uncle Ben because I feel like we said a lot about him in some of these previous scenes. But he's just, again, I like him. He's a great guy who's trying to look out for his nephew, who's trying to help his nephew stay on the right path. Just that little thing when he's like, oh no, I'll drive you to the library. I need the exercise. And he does that little to Aunt May. He's like, I got it. Okay, we're going to have the conversation right here. It's just a small little thing about Uncle Ben trying to do his best to be a parent. And I really love that, as the actor does such a great job. I guess anything else you want to say about Uncle Ben that we didn't already cover in these last few top in the great power, great responsibility scene?
No, we can move on. And Sin have it, yes, that is true. His parents were agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they were killed by the Red Skull.
Probably not in this version, though, because this version doesn't really exist in the larger Marvel cinematic, in the larger Marvel universe. But anyways, now, May Parker. What are your thoughts about her?
Okay, I'm going to sound silly when I say this, but let me go into this. I thought this woman was perfect as May. I mean, Aunt May is an old, frail lady in her 70s, maybe early 80s, I would have to say. Unlike Aunt Hottie in the MCU films, which I agree, Aunt Hottie is hot as hell, Marissa Tomei. But let's be real. If that is your aunt and look like that in the MCU films, you're gonna have dudes hitting on her like crazy, okay? Aunt, like Tony Stark said, Aunt Hottie, right? I'm being real here. That's the truth.
Yeah. Well, she's probably in her lower 70s, 60s, because they said Uncle Ben is 68. But anyway, I
Right.
digress. Go.
But yeah, I mean, the way she looks just like Aunt May. How her hair's even done up because Aunt May did do her hair like that for the longest time for decades, and she had the character down pat. Again, great storytelling, great directing, all thanks to Sam Raimi. Knows the heart of the story, knows the heart of the characters, and not just one character, but all the characters.
And hey, she's probably one of the only Marvel characters in the early days to drop a DC reference in a Marvel movie. You're not Superman, you know. Only. But I love that scene though, where Peter and MJ are talking in the hospital, and Aunt May pretends to still be in a coma just so she can spy on Peter, just so Peter and MJ can have that moment. She's like, "It's like I'm just gonna pretend to be out for." I don't know if she was supposed to be in a coma or just sleeping, but she's like, "Pretend to be out for a little bit longer, just so Peter can have his moment with MJ." It's just, I love that too. She's the way she kind of portrays that mother who wants her son to get the girl.
Yeah. Hey, Qatar, how are you?
And she's actually, I think she's 100 years old and still alive. Like, I mean, the actress who plays Aunt May, she's old and she's alive still. I think she's like in her what? Okay, I gotta look this up because I'm really curious now. But Rosemary, she was born in 1927. Oh my God, I hate math. Why am I doing math right now? What's 2024 minus 1927? 97. Yeah, that's 97. Okay, that's right. That's damn. But anyways, just another great actress, and I love the scene. I love how she wants to the way she's portrayed as just a proper, just like a woman who wants things done proper. That's how I want to say it. Like Thanksgiving, with the way she wants Thanksgiving done right. Just little details that she wants. She says, "This is the boys' first Thanksgiving in their new apartment. We're going to do it right." The way she wants to make sure everyone says grace before they say prayers, or does grace before they eat. The way that she's so supportive of Peter in this movie. She's such a great actress. And I'm glad that she gets more of her shine. Like, I'll be honest, I think she gets a lot more of her shine in Spider-Man 2 and 3, because I think this one focused more on Uncle Ben. And that's okay, but I'm glad she had a lot more to do in Spider-Man 2 and 3. But she still has some great moments in this scene, too. And the actress does such a great job portraying the Green Goblin attacking her. The way she says, "Those eyes, those horrible yellow eyes." You can tell she's just a scared woman. Really.
Now that I did not know, Sin Happy. Elizabeth Banks is supposed to be MJ?
Wait, is that Simmons? Is that the actress who plays Simmons? No, that's not Simmons.
That was Betty Brant.
Oh, okay. So, actually, Sin Havoc may have transitioned us to our next topic, but anything else you want to say about Aunt May's character?
No, we can move on.
Okay. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the weakest part of this movie is Kristen Dunst's Mary Jane Watson. I just feel that in these movies, just in general, she's just a damsel in distress the whole time. She's not bad in this movie. I will say, out of all her movies, she's the least irritating in this movie. But I will say, she was kind of a douche for making a move on Peter right after Harry's funeral. Okay, come on, really? Wait a little bit. Don't do it at Harry's funeral, for God's sakes. Just like, don't decide to leave someone right at the altar. But that's another rant. But what's your thoughts on Mary Jane in this movie?
You pretty much got it right, but you gotta understand when it comes to and I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying, when it comes to matters of the heart, your heart and your brain don't always line up right. Your brain tells you one thing, your heart tells you another.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That I do know that is true. But other than that, what's your thoughts of how she's portrayed in this movie?
No problem with it. Again, casting was fine. The writing was fine.
Oh,
I because Mary Jane is a party girl. Mary Jane was always the type of girl early on to go out with somebody that would. She didn't want to be tied down. She would go out with the flashiest guys, either the pro football player or the guy that had the money or whatever. And it wasn't that she was trying to be a gold digger or anything. She was a party girl. She wanted to be, in the spotlight where Gwen Stacy was the bookworm. Mary Jane wanted to be out, be the model, be the actress, be in the spotlight. She wanted to be able to do all those things. That's just how she was.
Jesus in Havoc is Tom Holland and Zendaya having issues or something?
Yes, I
Well,
agree, integrity. I agree. Zendaya needs to go. That is not MJ. I want to see a real MJ. Red hair. I know. Forgive me for just saying this, oh Lord. MJ is a Caucasian woman with red hair, not somebody that's not Caucasian with red hair. There you go. I'm gonna say it that way.
I mean, I will say this. I do notice out of all the characters who get race swapped, I notice it tends to be gingers the most. I don't know if it's just me who's noticed that, but I feel like they tend to do that to gingers more than other characters.
Well, I got a question here. Sin Havoc? Who is gonna be playing Black Cat? Please let it be Sydney Sweeney. Because if it's Sydney Sweeney, dude, I done filled the cup. You don't know what that reference means? Go watch Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back from 2001. You'll get the understanding real quick.
Okay. But I would just say in this movie, MJ I guess she just doesn't impress me because she just doesn't really have any real characteristics of her own. I just feel like her character is being Peter's girlfriend. The reason we root for her is because she's Peter's girlfriend. But unlike, and again, I will say this is just one thing that I'm going to say is definitely better in the newer Spider-Man movies than this one. Is I do like Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy better than I like Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane Watson. I'm not saying overall those movies are better. I'm saying one aspect of that movie I like better than this one. I don't know. Just something about her. I just wish they did more with her than just making her a damsel. I wish they just I don't know. They just could have done more with her. I don't know if I could explain it better, but
And all I'm personally saying is if they get Sydney Sweeney to come into Spider-Man 4 in that Black Cat leather outfit, I'll be a happy man. That's all I'm saying.
I guess is there anything you want to counter about what I said with MJ or anything else you want to say?
No, we can move on.
Okay. Not that I have too much to say about him, but I'm going to be honest. A lot of people may have not liked Harry for stealing Peter's girl in the movie, like using that quote that Peter gave him about spiders to make MJ fall in love with him. But I got to be honest. Harry gave Peter every chance for MJ. He was like, go get her, trying to be a supportive best friend. But there's only so many times that you can watch your best friend stumble and be like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, no, Harry kind of earned that. Peter was being too much of a wuss. Harry took what I don't know. I'm trying to like Harry made his move because Peter didn't. So I don't blame Harry for that. But one thing I like about and I forget, isn't James Franco controversial now? Isn't there some controversy surrounding this guy as an actor?
He did something. I don't know all the details what Franco did in real life. Something with some other actress or something behind the scenes. I can't. I didn't go into all the background of it to look at all the information. But he's been like, I think it's part of the whole Me Too movement. Maybe I know that
Okay.
idiot Seth Rogen is talking about it, but I don't trust anything that Seth Rogen has to say at all.
Okay, well, this, these movies came out before all this stuff came out, or the accusations. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to say. We're just gonna I just want to kind of address the elephant in the room. That's all. But these movies came out before all that, so I would say. Wait, hold on. I want to read integrity. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Well, I mean, James Franco isn't even in, like, Harry Osborn isn't even in the MCU yet, so we'll get to that later. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's too much to say about James Franco in this movie as Harry Osborn in this movie. Honestly, he's just kind of the best friend. The I feel like he shines a lot more in the other two movies, in my opinion. I don't know if there's anything about him. I like that he stood up to his father for Mary Jane. He did a good job there, and I love his relationship with his father. I love that he kind of slowly starts to build. Like, at first, he doesn't like his father. They don't get along. He's just a normal teenager who wants to just try to make it in this world, try to have friends, not define himself by his money. But then he starts to warm up to his father, and then his father dies. But I don't know. I liked him, but I think he does. I think he does a lot more in the other two movies. But I will say this, Sox. Remember how early in the movie the bullies were like, "The Harry, or what? Your dad's gonna fire my dad?" I'm like, well, that's actually a pretty good thread. Maybe you shouldn't be making fun of him. If I were Harry, I'd be like, yeah, so shut up if you don't want to end up homeless. That's what I would say to him. Just saying, going
It would
after a
be,
guy who has
yeah, it's a good idea.
money. And again, I don't know if that was sarcastic. I don't know if he actually worked for Harry's father, but I'm like, maybe don't go bully the rich person who could probably pay to make your life a living hell. Maybe that's not as smart of an idea as you think it is, but yeah, I can agree with that. I guess, Sox, is there anything else you want? Is there anything you want to say about Harry Osborn in this movie?
No, we can move on. Goddamn internet's acting goofy again. Ugh.
Don't worry, Sox. We're almost done. So I would say this. The only thing we missed is I do question why doesn't Green Goblin use those skeleton bombs more often? The one where he turns the board into skeletons, that one bomb. Like when he was ready to kill Spider-Man, why didn't he just use that bomb instead of like those razor bats? I would have done that, honestly. I don't know. Is there anything
I'm
else
not
you missed?
a
You wanna talk
production
about,
designer.
Doc?
I can't tell you these things.
Is
You
there
have to
anything else
talk.
that you?
That's something I can't answer. We're talking. We're gonna go from comics to the MCU. I can't tell you that sort of thing.
No, I'm talking about the I'm talking about how Green Goblin uses that bomb to turn the board into skeletons. Why didn't he use that on Spider-Man again? And when he's like, "No one says no to me."
He, he, he should have. I agree, but for some odd reason, I guess Raimi decided, nope, one and done. And also, maybe Norman wanted. I'm sorry, maybe Goblin wanted to torture Spider-Man even more so. So just get rid of him that fast, Remember, he wanted him to join him at one point.
Okay, fair enough. But is there anything else that you want to talk about that we didn't cover?
The one thing that kind of always threw me off a little bit, it's a little nitpick that I have towards these three films. And you touched upon it earlier. You ready?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
I am not a fan of organic webbing. I like web shooters. I grew up reading Spider-Man web shooters. That's the thing that I like the most. When I saw the organic webbing, I looked at it like this. Why? Why are we doing organic webbing? It makes no sense to me. I did not like it then. I still don't like it now. That's the only nitpick I have is the organic webbing. I understood why Sam Raimi talked about it. I saw the interview when he said why he felt it was important for that character. I get it. I'm not knocking Sam. He can do no wrong in my eyes, but for the love of God, man, I do not like organic webbing. I like web shooters. That's just how I look at things.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, it's just kind of more disgusting, I think, to be caught in a spider web, because then it's actually a real spider web at that point. So, anyways,
But you
what
know
are
what's
your
funny
final?
though is that I'm sorry, but you know what's funny though? In No Way Home, when Tom Holland Spider Man and Andrew Garfield Spider Man are like kind of like joking on Toby, he's like, "Does the webbing come out of anywhere else?" Nope, just the wrist. I fell out laughing.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, that would. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna actually go there, but yeah, that was funny. That was funny in that movie. So, anyways, anything else? Any final thoughts? And what would you rate this movie as?
I'm gonna give it to you straight up, man. I give this movie a full 10. I give this movie a full 10. I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. It is, it's only the only I'll say this is a 10, and Spider-Man 2 would be a 10 plus. Because I mean, Spider-Man 2 is so much above this one, and this one is so good. Oh, by the way, before I forget this, when Spider-Man 2, well, I'm sorry, when Spider-Man 1 first came out in 2002, it made, and you could check on this if you want to, people. Spider-Man in 2002, when it first came out, made $97 million in a day. $97 million in a day in 2002. Over the weekend, it made $117 million. That was a feat on its own back then. So yeah, there you go.
Damn. And yes, I agree. I think this is a phenomenal movie. I really love it. I call this movie a masterpiece, and I put it in the masterpiece rating, which I think Trey of the Bat Channel says anything 9.7 or above is a masterpiece. So I'll go with that same logic too. I'll give this movie a 9.8923468592348 out of 10. I think it is a phenomenal movie. I have few complaints about it. MJ is kind of F for me, but I think overall, I love this movie. It's a fantastic movie, and Sam Raimi did a good job. And huh? What are you talking about? Oh, the whole. Okay. So yeah, I think it's a phenomenal movie. And Sox, thank you for joining me for this Thanksgiving special. Because remember, this movie, I know we didn't talk much Thanksgiving, but this movie does take place during Thanksgiving. And do you know what comes after Thanksgiving?
Greetings, Gotham, and Merry Christmas! I hope you're watching Batman. This one's for you.
Zone control initiated. Parade override engaged.
What the hell was that?
Bruce, you didn't get him a gift certificate.
No. Cash.
Yeah, can I help you?
Yes. We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
Just set that tracks.
Jill, there's just no way to explain the devastation right now, as the Life Day Parade turned Christmas Parade turned massacre unfolds before us. Both Life Day and Christmas have been ruined forever by...
Data! Hologram! Now!
That is right. Crime at Christmas Time is here. And it is, hold on, let me get the banner up. Crime at Christmas Time 2024 is here. And this channel will be doing a lot of Christmas related content very soon. So just for a reminder how this works is that any video I do during this time from now until New Year's will have the Christmas intro and one of the Christmas backgrounds. But only the videos that relate directly to Christmas will be on the playlist. So, for example, let's say Sox and I review Craven. It will have this background and we'll do the intro, but it will not be on the Christmas playlist, the Crime at Christmas Time playlist. But if, let's say, I review Red One, I don't know if I'm going to do that. But if I do that, that will go on the Christmas playlist. So, Crime at Christmas Time is here. And, hey, Austin put a lot of work into that. And that trailer is awesome, Sin Havoc. Wow, a lot of Scrooges. Jeez. But are you pumped, son, for Crime at Christmas Time?
The Scrooge is highly misunderstood, okay? Everyone keeps coming on the Scrooge. The Scrooge was misunderstood. Let's be real. And first of all, don't even get me started about Frosty the Snowman. He never did get brought into justice for doing what he did. He stole that hat, and he never got brought to justice for stealing that. And Santa Claus runs a sweatshop.
Wow, way to take the fun out of everything. Wow. But anyways, though, Socks. Despite that, are you?
Sin Havoc. Sin Havoc. Sin Havoc.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's where we are. Okay. Well, despite some objections here, this channel is rocking Crime at Christmas time. Crime at Christmas time. Got the Santa hat on, got the Christmas lights. It is Christmas time. So, what about you, Socks? Are you pumped at all?
Eh.
Okay. That's fine. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the Christmas theme on this channel. So, Crime at Christmas time 2024 is here. And anyways, so coming up on Marvelous Discussions, if Socks Bulletins is up for it, maybe, I haven't decided. We might review Craven. We'll see. We'll see if we decide to do that. But I am pleased to tell you that this Wednesday, Josh Herrera and I will be on the Good Austin's channel to do a watch party of The Flash. And since I've already debuted Crime at Christmas time on this channel, although I kind of did a sneak peek on Lethal Geeks, but anyways, Crime at Christmas time is here, so I'll be wearing this attire too. So sorry, Sin Havoc. But anyways, Socks, anything coming up for you?
No, I did a video. I think it was about a week or two ago. I think I did one. I posted it. I didn't tell anybody what I posted. I just put it out there. So if you want to go to my YouTube channel and find it, go right ahead. But I'll come out with something before end of the year. I know that for sure.
Can't wait, Socks. Can't wait. And again, I'm really excited for this series now. Back to some Christmas related content, because I know Socks always loves to tease me about it, and now it's actually here. So be on the lookout for that. And guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and Christmas time themes such as this. And on that note, any final words, Socks?
Ta-ta for now.
Have a marvelous day.